Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Before we get started, I want to say happy Canadian Thanksgiving to my Canadian followers, viewers, and subscribers. This year, I'm thankful for the Metal Meltdown being bigger than ever before, for having this really cool fucking community that always tunes in and always chimes in with really cool music and all kinds of weird, funky shit. It's awesome. I love each and every one of y'all. If you're not Canadian, if you're American, if you're European, African, or something else entirely, that's okay. I hope you had a fucking fantastic weekend as well. Alright, now that we've started off this video with some positivity and niceness, let's switch things around and talk about this brand new studio album from Ice Nine Kills. Yeah. The worlds of horror and heavy metal have been symbiotically linked to each other ever since a young geezer butler had the audacity to steal the name Black Sabbath from a now long forgotten Boris Karloff feature. To the point where I think it would be genuinely difficult, nay impossible, to find even a single corner of the heavy metal universe that is not in some way profoundly influenced by horror. For this reason, the overall concept and design of an album like The Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood, quite frankly isn't as unique or as ambitious as Ice Nine Kills fanatics would like us to believe. Because the reality is, if you've heard any music from any one metal band in any capacity at any point in your life, then you have very likely heard at least that one metal band pay worship and homage to a classic horror film in sonic form. Instead, what makes Ice Nine Kills and their particular type of worship and homage so unique is how over-the-top, balls-to-the-walls insane their overall production and style is. I mean, these guys aren't just inspired by horror, they are dedicated to it, to the point where songs are often recreating the entire plot of a classic horror film, complete with samples and references and Easter eggs and reenactments of famous popular scenes from these films. On top of that, the band's own take on metalcore and post-hardcore is itself very flamboyant and over-the-top. It brings to mind this bizarre and chaotic fusion of like Atreyu and Avenged Sevenfold and My Chemical Romance and Protest the Hero, but with all the bells and whistles that I might expect from a Cradle of Filth record. And as a result, The Silver Scream 2 is often very overwhelming and even obnoxious. This doesn't feel like something created by a bunch of horror movie cinephiles and fanatics. This feels like something created by a bunch of obsessive autistic teenagers who just watched Evil Dead and The Exorcist and Child's Play for the first time and just will not fucking shut up about them. For instance, the track Assault and Batteries is directly influenced by the aforementioned Child's Play, opening on a very irritating kind of jingle, the kind that I would expect from a toy commercial in the 1980s, also bringing in some very childish taunts and jeers and harmonies. It's all just really fucking annoying. There are some legitimately pretty heavy and muscular grooves scattered throughout the number, as well as a sizzling guitar solo right near the end, and I do find myself weirdly kind of humming along to the very upbeat pop-punk style chorus, but all of these extra spices and flavors along the way are just too overpowering. Like, by the time I'm finally starting to get into the track, it's being interrupted by some really childish harmony, by some really stupid sound effects, by a pointless sample that goes absolutely nowhere. You've also got the shower scene, which is heavily inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I don't know what about that film inspired Ice Nine Kills to write such an oddly soulful and evocative hook, but I can tell you that it's needlessly bombastic and completely unusual and out of place. Later on in this track, the band tries to integrate the film's iconic score directly into the breakdown, namely that from the infamous shower scene of which this song takes most of its inspiration. And I can get down with that in concept, but in execution, it's just a little bit much. And there's also Hip to Be Scared, which I'm genuinely kind of mixed on, because it starts off pretty strong with a really good hook and some pretty wild and inventive guitar work, but it very quickly loses my interest thanks to a weird and somewhat tacky diversion into like new wave and synth rock inspired by Huey Lewis in the News. At which point the singer then recreates a pretty iconic scene from the film American Psycho, of which the song is based on primarily, except instead of talking about Huey Lewis in the News, he's now talking about his own band Ice Nine Kills and how important and influential and successful they are. It's incredibly fucking cringe and reeks of narcissism and a complete lack of self-awareness and humility. I fucking despise this entire section of this song. There are some tracks I do find myself briefly enjoying, like I can kind of get down with Ex Mortis. It's inspired heavily by Evil Dead and weirdly does have the swing, the stroll, the swagger of something that coincidentally I would expect from the Evil Dead musical. I'd say the album's big highlight for me is probably Take Your Pick, which is inspired by the 1981 slasher flick My Bloody Valentine. It's a genuinely pretty vicious number that even features a Corpse Grinder of Cannibal Corpse fame on lead vocals, who, as per the norm with every record he appears on, steals the fucking show. It will never cease to amaze me how fucking insane and brutal this guy's voice is. I guess the opening cut, Welcome to Horrorwood, isn't that bad either. There's some pretty nasty guitar work in this cut, and I think it does a pretty good job at introducing newcomers to Ice Nine Kills and what they're all about and what this album is going to be about. Unfortunately, though, this track is preceded by one of the most pretentious kind of introductory spoken word things I've ever heard in my fucking life, as Ice Nine Kills spends what feels significantly longer than 43 seconds bragging about how gruesome and brutal their music is. It was too evil, too despicable for mainstream audiences, and therefore had to be locked away in a vault for so many years until the government and the police decided that it was safe for you to consume. Like, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm unfortunately going to give this a 1.5 out of 5. While there is clearly a lot of passion and intensity and even skill consistently on display, the way it's all been combined and executed just leaves a really rotten, sour taste in my mouth. It's too bombastic, too silly for its own good, so over the top, so completely cram-packed, overflowing with samples and sound effects and homages and Easter eggs and weird, awkward distractions and all the regular stereotypes and cliches expected of metalcore and post-hardcore. It makes for a genuinely very overwhelming listen as a result. It's all sizzle and very little steak. It's all style and very little substance, and despite its undying, unbridled passion for horror, it doesn't really seem to understand the genre all that well, as it spends more time creating all of these dumb little homages and skits as opposed to creating genuine tension, genuine atmosphere, things that are necessary for great horror, even for great horror comedy, even for something more tongue-in-cheek and low budget. There is very clearly an audience that is very hungry, nay, starving for this exact type of music. If there wasn't, I would not be receiving requests every fucking Halloween to talk about Ice Nine Kills in some capacity. I am simply not amongst that audience. Plain and fucking simple. I tried, folks. I gave it an honest shot. I found some little bits and pieces that I kind of, sort of enjoyed or at least admired, but the album as a whole, in my opinion, I think it's kind of bad, honestly. No thank you. I don't want to listen to it again. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.